The App of Shadows. The download. Emma Johnson was an ordinary college student, always on the lookout for the latest tech trends. One evening, while browsing a tech forum, she stumbled upon a new app called Shadow Watch. The app promised to monitor users' health and well-being by analyzing their sleep patterns, heart rate, and daily activities. Curious and always eager to try new gadgets, Emma downloaded the app without a second thought. The initial setup was smooth. Shadow Watch asked for permission to access her camera, microphone, and health data. Despite the invasive requests, Emma granted them. After all, this was supposed to be the next big thing in health technology. Strange notifications. The app seemed innocuous at first, with a sleek interface and an array of features that impressed Emma. It tracked her sleep patterns accurately and even gave tips for better rest. However, after a few nights, she started receiving strange notifications in the middle of the night. Messages like, "Your heart rate is irregular," or "Something is watching you," would pop up, only to disappear a moment later. At first, Emma dismissed these notifications as glitches, but as they became more frequent, she grew uneasy. One night, she woke up at exactly 3 a.m. to a notification saying, "Open your eyes." Terrified, she looked around her dark room but saw nothing unusual. The next morning, she found a new feature on the app, a log of sounds recorded while she slept. Hesitantly, she played the recording. The whispering. The recording was mostly silence, punctuated by the occasional rustle of her sheets. Then, she heard it, a faint whisper, barely audible but distinct. "Emma, wake up," it said. Chills ran down her spine as she replayed the audio, confirming it wasn't her imagination. The whisper was real, and it seemed to know her name. Emma shared the recording with her roommate, Sarah, who suggested they uninstall the app. Emma agreed, but when she tried, the app wouldn't delete. Every time she pressed uninstall, it reappeared on her screen. The phone seemed to resist any attempt to get rid of Shadow Watch. Unsettling patterns. Emma began noticing odd patterns in the data the app collected. It showed spikes in her heart rate and movements at times she was certain she was asleep. She started experiencing sleep paralysis, waking up in the middle of the night, unable to move, with a heavy feeling on her chest. During these episodes, she often felt a presence in the room, watching her. One night, she woke up paralyzed again, and saw a shadowy figure standing at the foot of her bed. It was a tall, dark silhouette with no distinguishable features. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand, and through her peripheral vision, she saw a notification. "It's here." The encounter. Emma sprang out of bed, breaking the paralysis, and turned on all the lights, finding her room empty. She uninstalled the app immediately and reset her phone, hoping to erase any trace of it. For a while, things returned to normal, and she convinced herself it had been a glitch or a prank. Weeks later, as she settled into bed, her phone buzzed with a notification. It was from Shadow Watch. The app had somehow reinstalled itself. Her screen flickered, and the live feed appeared again, showing her room from the same impossible angle. This time, the figure was closer, its outline barely visible in the shadows. The notification read, "You can't escape." Desperate measures. Emma decided to confront the source of her terror. Armed with a flashlight, she searched her room, paying particular attention to the corners and shadows. Her phone buzzed again, and she glanced at it. Another notification. "It's in the closet." With trembling hands, she opened the closet door, revealing nothing but clothes and shoes. Suddenly, a cold hand grasped her shoulder. She spun around to face a dark, shapeless entity. Her phone fell to the floor, its screen cracking but still showing the live feed. Sarah rushed into the room, responding to Emma's scream. Together, they watched the live feed as the entity retreated back into the shadows, disappearing from view. Emma decided they needed professional help and called a tech-savvy friend, Jake, to investigate. Jake's investigation. Jake arrived the next day, bringing his laptop and various gadgets. He examined Emma's phone and discovered that the app was deeply embedded in the phone system, almost as if it had become a part of the device itself. He tried to delete it using advanced software but found that it regenerated itself instantly. "This isn't just malware," Jake said, frowning. "It's something else. Something I've never seen before." That night, Jake set up surveillance equipment in Emma's room. He installed cameras, motion detectors, and even a thermal imaging sensor. If there was anything unusual, they would capture it. The manifestation. Emma barely slept that night, anxiously watching the monitors with Jake and Sarah. At around 3 a.m., the motion detector beeped, and the thermal camera picked up a cold spot in the room. The live feed showed the shadowy figure again, now standing right beside Emma's bed. The figure moved closer, and the temperature in the room dropped significantly. Emma's phone buzzed with a notification. It's time. Jake recorded everything, his hands shaking as the figure reached out towards Emma. She felt a cold, suffocating pressure as the entity touched her. Suddenly, the surveillance equipment short-circuited, plunging the room into darkness. The revelation. When the lights came back on, the entity was gone, but Emma was visibly shaken. Jake reviewed the footage and noticed something disturbing. The entity seemed to be interacting directly with the phone, almost as if it were using it as a portal. Jake dug deeper into the app's code and discovered it was tied to an old urban legend about a developer who dabbled in dark magic, creating a cursed app that could summon spirits. Shadow Watch wasn't just a health app, it was a conduit for something malevolent. Emma decided to visit the developer's old address, now an abandoned building on the outskirts of town. She hoped to find something that could help her break the app's hold over her. The abandoned building. Emma, Jake, and Sarah arrived at the abandoned building, its windows boarded up and doors locked. They broke in and found the place filled with dusty old computers and stacks of papers. In a corner room, they discovered a shrine with strange symbols and a laptop still running Shadowwatch's prototype. As they explored further, Emma's phone buzzed. It was a notification from Shadow Watch. Welcome home. The room grew colder, and the shadowy entity appeared again, more solid and menacing than before. It moved towards Emma, who stood her ground, holding the phone out like a weapon. Jake found an old journal belonging to the developer, detailing a ritual to banish the entity. They had to perform the ritual in front of the device that originally summoned it. With no time to waste, they quickly prepared, following the journal's instructions. The final confrontation. As they chanted the incantation, the entity howled in rage, the room shaking violently. The shadow grew larger, its form becoming more distinct. Emma felt an overwhelming pressure, as if the entity was trying to crush her. With a final, desperate push, they completed the ritual. The entity screamed and was sucked back into the phone, which exploded in a shower of sparks. The room fell silent, the oppressive atmosphere lifting instantly. Breathing heavily, Emma, Jake, and Sarah looked around, the sense of dread finally gone. They left the building, vowing to never speak of what happened to anyone else. Emma got a new phone and made sure to keep her apps strictly mundane. But somewhere in the depths of the internet, the cursed code of Shadow Watch lay dormant, waiting for the next curious soul to download it.
Dear viewers, if you like to watch the scariest horror stories, do subscribe, like and share our channel. Thank you.